So Alex, the VP of supply chain of a leading CPG company in the world, had been trying to reduce budget for years, and he always failed. Last year, 2017, was the first time he managed to reduce budget. And I'm going to tell you how that happened. So Alex normally used to close the budget with the directors. The director, due to company limited resources, normally overinflated their needs. And Alex thought, what about if I talk to the people who actually are going to spend the budget? But it is a very complicated and frustrating experience because there is no current means to talk and extract the knowledge from hundreds of people. So current means like a face-to-face meeting, you can open a Slack conversation or an email, is going to be very frustrating. So what we did is we offered a platform for Alex. And in less than a week, he managed to reduce costs by 10%. We're talking here about millions of dollars. So Alex is not alone. He's just one of the managers that oversees many people that have a problem when he's trying to extract the knowledge in his organization. And that's why we created Collaboratorium. That is a whole new way to structure key conversation. It's an online platform, web-based, that have different deliberation templates depending on the output of the goal of the conversation that you are trying to reach. So we have main differences with current communication tools. We have argumented opinions because when you are trying to make an important decision, you are not just interested in the what, but also in the whys. We organize the knowledge depending on its relevance, and it doesn't follow a chronological order. We eliminate biases that are very present in current communications. So we have, for example, anonymous conversation, so you are not afraid that someone else is not going to like your comment. So with that, leaders are able to tap into the collective knowledge of their organizations, involving way more people, gathering much more information, 10 times more information in a fraction of the time. And we couldn't build this product alone, so we partnered with leading institutions in collaborative intelligence in the world, such as the MIT Center for Collective Intelligence, UC Berkeley, or the Innovation Center for Collaborative Intelligence. So let me tell you more about why Collaboratorium is unique. Depending on the depth of interaction of the conversation that we normally have, we differentiate between communication and deliberation. Communication is 95% of the time that we're talking, but it normally adds only 5% of the value. And actually, that space is super crowded. Like big players like Microsoft or Google have already solved the way we communicate. But what about when you are trying to make an important decision? You will normally say, okay, I'm going to have a face-to-face meeting, I'm going to schedule a conference call, but that has a lot of limitations, as we just saw. So we created, leveraging technology, Collaboratorium. In the last 1.5 years, we have had a promising market reception. We're working with top companies in the world, like A.T. Kearney, Procter & Gamble, Santander Bank. We started the company with $1 million seed round, and with just one salesperson, we have a scale in the last 6 months from 5,000 monthly recurring revenue to 50,000. We have a customer acquisition cost payback period of less than 6 months, and we have been cash flow positive from the very beginning. So we are a team of experts that combine several decades of collaborative intelligence expertise. So Rafael spent his whole life advising CEOs of leading corporations at McKinsey & Company. Leticia, after doing a PhD in connective intelligence, created the Innovation Center for Collaborative Intelligence. And I created 10 years ago the largest crowd learning community in Spain, in which millions of people have learned thanks to thousands of people exchanging their knowledge. So we are now raising a 2.5 million Series A round to scale our already validated business model. So Collaboratorium is a whole new way to structure key conversation and make more informed decisions. And we want you to be part of it. Thank you.
All right, so I'm curious that when you call upon your customers, what role are you trying to sell into? Is it the CIO, is it the CTO, or is it the CFO in the case of the budget?
In the budget, it was the VP of supply chain of this CPG company, and he was talking to the director in charge of each department. It could be the finance department, it could be the IT department, but the person who hired us was the VP of supply chain.
So is that common? Is that the model that you think is going to be dominant going forward?
Most of our clients are even CEOs, transformation leaders, or I would say C-suite executive.
What can you share at this point in terms of the existing customers that are using it, in terms of their level of love/addiction to the product?
For example, Procter & Gamble is a company that's already using the tool, and it started not with the sales force. So a friend of Chema actually introduced the tool to the company. It started in Switzerland, and now they're using it all over Europe, America, and even in Africa. So with the current client base, the product has demonstrated a good stickiness, and they're actually trying to share it with other people.
Just to add a little bit on that, we started with 50 people on the headquarters in Zurich, and then now it's 500 people. So the platform itself, because there's a network effect, every person starts inviting the actual relevant participants, and then they see the value of the tool. They in turn want to use it for more decisions and involve more people. So it's a network effect that expands globally by itself.
Along the same lines, I used to work in consulting, and we used Yammer and all the surveys, and I see this as sort of like a collective layer that could potentially sit on top of those tools. But are you guys doing anything to garner engagement from the actual end users, or is you sell the tool top down and they go out and actually work on implementation?
Yeah, right now it's mostly top down, but like we mentioned, one of the examples was a friend of Chema who works at P&G. He used to work at P&G. He showed the tool, and then people started using it and actually selling it upwards. So it's not only that we have to go in with the C-level executives, but the platform kind of sells itself. But yeah, it also works top down.
Yeah, I will only add to that for us, our value proposition, we're very client. Every time we're talking to a customer, it's very important that it's a key conversation for them and for the people that they are involved in. So normally, if it has consequences for you, you're going to be really willing to engage in that conversation. So that's the premise that we have.
Is the cost per seat? How do you charge?
So we have a double revenue model as a software as a service company. So we charge $10 per person per month. And on top of that, we have an onboarding fee when the company starts, and also some professional services revenue on top of that. Last year we have over $1 million in revenue, but it wasn't everything recurrent. So we have the tool fee, and on top of that, some professional services on the collaborative intelligence side. So how should you really use that collaborative conversation?
Thank you.